most people are using LinkedIn completely wrong. And the people who are using it correctly are getting their dream careers. After I started posting about things that mattered to me, I started growing my LinkedIn and instantly started attracting opportunities that didn't just get me my dream roles, but changed my career and my life completely. So what is this LinkedIn strategy that I figured out over the years? It is a simple system that I call the LinkedIn Flywheel, and it starts with your LinkedIn profile. First things first, let's get something straight. You need to stop thinking of your LinkedIn profile as merely an online resume, because that's not what it is. Your profile is the conversion machine that turns every other thing you do on LinkedIn into actual results for you in your job search. Think about it. When you comment on someone's post, what do? They immediately click on your name if they're interested. When you send a connection request, they'll check you out. When you reach out about an opportunity, they look you up. Everything you do on LinkedIn eventually sends someone to your profile, right? So if they land there and it's just meh, all that other work that you've been doing of sending out a connection request or making a post or being visible on LinkedIn in any other way was for nothing. This is why your headline can't just say something like marketing manager, or worse, looking for opportunities. It needs to actually make people curious to scroll down and read more about your profile. Your banner can't be that default LinkedIn blue mosaic. It needs to show what you are about in 3 seconds. And then your about section, it can't just be this boring list of all the companies that you've worked at. Tell your story in a way that people can actually remember. But here's where it gets tricky. Your profile has to work for 2 completely different audiences, right? For LinkedIn's algorithm, you need the right keywords in the right places throughout your profile so that recruiters can actually find you. On the other hand, for real humans, it needs to be compelling enough that those people actually want to connect with you. The key is making sure that every element in your profile serves both of those purposes, discovery and conversion. Your headline needs keywords that show up in searches, but it also needs to intrigue people to click on it. Your about section needs searchable terms woven into a story that's actually interesting for human eyes to read. Once this foundation of your profile is solid, everything else kind of gets easier, because when we talk about building your network next, this foundation is what makes people say yes to you instead of just ignoring you. Next, let's talk about building your network the smart way, because I see people make the same mistakes over and over again on LinkedIn. Either they never build that network or they just add everyone and their mom without any strategy. Here is why your network matters. It is basically the amplifier for everything else in this system. When you post content later, these people in your network will see it. When you comment on stuff, your connections see it too. When you reach out to someone new, mutual connections make you seem legit instead of just some random person asking for a favor. But something you might not know is that LinkedIn has literally confirmed that the more connected you are, the more likely you will get noticed by recruiters. Because when recruiters search for profiles that match a given set of criteria, how high up on that search result list you show up depends on how closely you are connected to that recruiter doing the searching. So if you are a first-degree connection with a recruiter, you'll show up higher on their list when compared to someone who is only a second or third plus connection to that recruiter. That means the more connections you have, the higher the likelihood you will be a recruiter's first or second degree connection. But, and this is important, it's not just about the number of connections you have, it is about being strategic with who you connect with and when. So here's how this works in 3 phases. First, and I call this group the lowest hanging fruit, connect with people you already know. This will build your base and gives you social proof. And you really don't need to be stingy with these connections that you send out, because most people on LinkedIn will just connect with you regardless of whether they remember you or not. Then expand to this second group of people who are the ones who share a similarity with you, like they live in the same geographic area as you graduated from the same school, or you work in the same industry or company. Emphasizing these similarities in your connection requests sent to them makes these people so much more likely to accept your request. And finally, you want to go after high value people. So these are people like recruiters, hiring managers, decision makers at companies you work for, important thought leaders in a specific field who can open doors for you. Each phase makes the next one easier. So like when you reach out to a hiring manager and they see you have 15 mutual connections, you are not just some random person anymore, right? You are someone who is already in their stratosphere. And this is where this flywheel really starts flying. As your network grows, more people see what you're doing, which makes even more people want to connect, which grows your network faster, which then makes you more visible. It just keeps feeding itself, right? But having a big network alone isn't enough. You need people to actually remember who you are. And that's where this next piece will come in. So this third piece is what I call the visibility engine. And this is how you stay on people's radar without being annoying about it. So let's be real. You can have the perfect profile and 1,000 connections, but if nobody ever sees you in conversations, then you are still forgettable. This visibility engine that I'm going to be talking about makes sure that you are consistently showing up and adding value where it matters and in those conversations that your decision makers actually care about. This connects directly to the network that we talked about in the previous piece. So remember all of those strategic people you just connected with, right? Now you need to make sure that they see you, they recognize your insights, and think of you when opportunities come up. When you engage with those people the right way, 3 things will happen that will make this flywheel spin faster. So first, you're building real relationships with the people sharing their thoughts in this industry, and these are usually the most influential people in your space. Second, everyone reading those posts sees your comments. We're talking thousands of people potentially seeing your name and what you have to say. So it doesn't have to be your thoughts only in a LinkedIn post, it can be in those comments too. And third, LinkedIn's algorithm starts showing your profile and future content to way more people the more active you are. But here's the catch, random engagement doesn't work. Just liking stuff here and there or dropping great insight on everything, you're just creating noise and nobody remembers that, right? The smart way is showing up intentionally in 3 places. 1 is posts from people at companies you want to work for. 2, posts from thought leaders in your industry. And 3, posts from strategic connections. When you consistently add real value in these 3 types of spots, you create what I call ambient awareness, where people see your name enough that when an opportunity pops up, you are the first person they'll think of. So for example, when I was a data analyst and I was looking to be a data scientist, I had created so much content around data analytics and data science that opportunities came to me when I was just starting out in my data science job search because they associated my name with data science. And get this, your visibility actually makes building your network easier. When you send a connection request to someone who's already seen you drop insightful comments in 3 of their posts, they're way more likely to accept. Your visibility feeds back into growing your network. But there's still a problem. You are still waiting for opportunities to come to you. And that's where this next piece comes in. So the 4th part of this flywheel is direct access. And this is where you stop waiting around and start creating your own opportunities and conversation. Everything that you've built so far, so the solid profile, the strategic networking, and showing up consistently in conversations that are happening in your industry, it all makes this part so much more effective. Direct access is about having conversations with the actual people who can hire you before jobs even hit the job boards. And this is where I think the flywheel really starts showing you tangible results. When you reach out to someone new, you're not a total stranger. You probably have 10 mutual connections from all the network building you've done. They've probably seen your thoughtful comments on their posts. Your profile looks good, so when they check you out, they actually want to say yes to that conversation. You see how this all clicks now? Without those first 3 pieces though, your outreach will feel cold and desperate, but with them, it's warm and the conversation starter will feel a lot more natural. What you're doing now is having real conversations with hiring managers, recruiters, people doing the job that you want. But, and this is key, you're not just coming right out the gate and being like, give me a job, because that's too direct and kind of awkward, right? You are asking to learn from them. You are genuinely curious about what they do. You are building relationships that might turn into referrals 3 or 6 months down the line, and the more familiar that they are with you up to this point, the more likely they'll say yes to teaching you what you want to learn from them. The key to good outreach is making it easy for them to say yes, leading with curiosity instead of what you need, and being specific about why you're reaching out to them in particular. Generic messages will get ignored, but personalized, thoughtful messages will get response. And stay tuned for the end of this video because I'm going to be sharing where you can get all of my LinkedIn DM templates so that you can use it for your own outreach. And here's the thing, these conversations feed back into everything else in this flywheel. So that coffee chat that you have lined up for later this week, it gives you insights to share in your next comment or post. The person that you connected with, they could introduce you to 3 more people to add to your network. The flywheel just keeps building on itself. But even with all of this, there's still one more piece to this flywheel that will tie everything together. Oh, and by the way, this LinkedIn flywheel system is part of my full Mastering LinkedIn course, where I've taught hundreds of students how to turn their LinkedIn into their own long-term career opportunity magnet. So if you're finding this video useful so far, make sure you check that out in the description below. I'll have it linked. All right, so the fifth and final piece to this flywheel is building authority through content. And I know this sounds super intimidating, but it honestly creates the most leverage, so it's so worth it. And here's why LinkedIn content matters. Everything we've talked about builds your presence on this platform. People know your name. Content builds your authority, and people know you, actually know your stuff and what you care about. So when you post consistently on LinkedIn, you are creating a portfolio of how you think. Hiring managers can check you out before they ever even meet you. You're not telling them, I'm good at solving problems. You're actually showing them by sharing how you actually approach challenge. And you're not claiming, I know the most about this industry. You're proving it through the insights you share and the experiences that you talk about. For example, I made this viral post 2.5 years ago. It's to date still my most viral post about an experience as small and stupid as leaving my caps lock on. And this was the post that landed me my data scientist job 3 weeks after I posted this, and also got LinkedIn to reach out to me to become a LinkedIn learning instructor. Twice. And this is where the flywheel gets really powerful. Content doesn't just build authority, it supercharges everything else in this system. Your network will see your post and engage with it, which makes LinkedIn show them to their networks. People see your comments, they get curious, click your profile, and find all this great content. Your outreach becomes way more effective because people can see that you're a thought leader, not just another person job hunting. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest, most people fail at this step, the content step, because they just post whenever they feel inspired and then they're not consistent with it. That's not building authority, that is just making noise. The strategic way is posting consistently about specific topics that align with the role you want and shows what makes you different. You're not trying to go viral, you're not trying to prove you're the best in your field, you're just making sure that when somebody's deciding whether to hire you, they see proof that you think deeply about their work. And every post you make is a permanent asset for you. Someone might discover you 6 months from now, scroll through your stuff, and see all this evidence that you are worth hiring. The biggest thing people struggle with in this step is figuring out what to post about and how to stay consistent. So my biggest advice is start with what you're learning, problems you're solving, and insights from the actual work you're doing right now. Share lessons from projects that you're doing, talk about the challenges that you've overcome up until this point, share your day-to-day. That's already way more valuable than 90% of the content out there, and it's so much easier than creating what people think is the stereotypical LinkedIn post, which is like 3 trends that I'm noticing in my industry. As like somebody who has 20 years of experience in this space, you don't need to be sharing content like that to be able to attract job opportunities. So here's how everything ties together, right? Your content gives you stuff to comment about. Your comments will get more people to see your content. Your growing network makes your content reach further. Your content makes your outreach to hiring managers and recruiters way more credible. So when they go to your profile, it's already optimized to show you in the best light, so it converts all of that traffic that your content brings. Everything feeds into everything else, and the flywheel is flying. So let me show you what this will actually look like over the next 6 to 12 months if you do this right, because I want you to have realistic expectations of what's going to happen. So months 1 and 2, I'm not gonna lie, this phase is really hard. You're fixing your profile, you're connecting with people, leaving thoughtful comments, sending outreach messages, and sometimes it could feel like you're doing a ton of work for not much payoff, because right now traffic to your profile might be kind of slow and your inbox might be kind of dry. The flywheel feels heavy, so it feels like you're kind of pushing a boulder uphill. But then months 3 to 4, things will start moving. People are accepting your connection requests more because you have mutual connections and they can see that you're active on here. Your comments are getting more engagement because your name is starting to look more familiar. Your outreach is getting better responses because your profile looks legit and you've got social proof. Months 5 and 6 is where we can really start making a dent. You're getting connection requests from people you have never reached out to. Recruiters are actually messaging you about opportunities. Your posts are getting solid engagement. Those coffee chats are turning into real opportunities. The flywheel has so much momentum right now, but you have to stick to this plan. You cannot get to this point without months 1 through 4 first. Okay, so stick with me here. By months 7 to 12, the system should basically be running itself if you do it right. Opportunities are coming to you before jobs are even posted. Your network is actively referring you. Your content is making companies want to hire you. You're not chasing anymore, things are coming to you. The flywheel is starting to maintain its own speed. So this is what happened to me. My last 3 career moves came through this system that I figured out for myself. I haven't sent out my job application or my resume in literally 3 years. Job opportunities come to me because I've primed this system to run on its own and to constantly generate opportunities for me. The best part about this system, if you have stuck to it up until this point, is that it should only take about 60 to 90 minutes a week to maintain, maybe even less, because everything you do feeds everything else. 1 hour of strategic activity per week keeps all 5 pieces running and the momentum building for you. So I know what you're thinking, Megan, this system sounds so hard when I could just go back to sending out hundreds of applications a week and praying that somebody will notice me. Yeah, that could take you like an hour at most of work per day, or maybe you just want to message hiring managers and recruiters on your own without doing any of the other steps. Sure, but let me explain to you why this entire system works when random LinkedIn tactics don't. Because this system mirrors how hiring actually happens in the real world. Hiring managers find candidates through recognition and trust, not resumes. They're willing to say yes to conversations and hire people whose names they've seen before, whose perspectives they respect, who feel like safe bets for them. This strategy builds recognition and trust intentionally for you. Your profile makes you discoverable, your network gives you reach, your visibility makes you familiar, your outreach builds relationships, your content proves your expertise. Now, something else that I know you're probably thinking is, this all sounds great, but how do I actually do this? How do I start? Where do I start? What do I do first? How do I know if I'm doing this right? These are questions that trip up everyone, and I definitely remember thinking of all these questions when I first started. They understand the strategy and the theory, but then they freeze when it's time to actually execute. They spend 3 hours trying to write the perfect headline and never get past that. Or they connect with 100 people, but they have no clue what to say when those people actually accept. Or they stare at a blank screen trying to write their first post and they eventually give up. Trust me, I get it. There is such a huge gap between understanding strategy and actually making it happen. My best advice is to start with your profile. Get that foundation solid first. Spend a few hours on it this week. Rewrite your headline, create a custom banner, tell your story in the about section. Make it work for both the algorithm and real human beings who might read it. Then you'll want to move to network building. Set a goal to hit 500 connections in the next 2 months. Start with people you know and then expand strategically. Once you've got those 2 pieces moving, add in consistent engagement, then outreach, then content. You're allowed to build the flywheel 1 component at a time. Don't try to do everything at once or you'll burn out before you see the results. Now, understanding how all of the moving pieces of LinkedIn tie together puts you ahead of maybe 90% of other job seekers, because none of them are doing this, I promise you. And honestly, you can take what I've shared today and run with it. Build the system yourself, piece by piece. It'll take some trial and error like it did for me, but it absolutely works, and I am living proof of that. But if you want the complete implementation system with LinkedIn DM templates, your profile optimization checklist, frameworks, and step-by-step processes in one place so that there's no guesswork for you, I've put everything together in my Mastering LinkedIn course. There is a link in the description if you want to check that out, but it's totally optional. This framework is solid on its own. What matters most is that you actually start building this. Not next month, not when you're desperate for a job, but now. Because here's what I want you to remember. This isn't about doing a million random things on LinkedIn. It's about building one system where everything you do makes everything else work better in unison. If you want more strategies like this one, the real actionable stuff about LinkedIn, career growth, and building opportunities, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I share this kind of content every week, and I'd love to have you guys along for the ride. Drop a comment below and let me know which part of this flywheel you're going to tackle first, and I will be happy to help with any questions you guys might have along the way. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!